Mike, Pasa Calexico. Welcome back to the podcast. Like always, before we begin, I want to thank a couple of people. First of all, I want to thank my friends Robert, Cynthia, and Fernie for allowing me to record today's episode here at Modern Home Furniture in Calexico. So if you're looking for any furniture for your home, make sure you come by. I'll leave a link to their Facebook and address and everything in the description of today's episode. Also want to thank my anchor sponsors. I want to thank Jake, Camilo. I want to thank Ms. Norma Galindo, Edward Velasquez, Eddie Lopez from Roots Creative. Also want to thank Sergio's Tacos and Hotdogs, serving the Imperial, San Diego, and Yuma counties with 8 years of experience of Mexicali styles and taquizas. If you're interested in a date, make sure you contact Sergio. His phone number is 760-562-0057, or look for Sergio's Tacos and Hotdogs on Facebook. Finally, I want to thank David Gastelum for thinking of buying or selling a home in the Imperial or San Diego County. Make sure you contact David. He's not only a realtor, but an investor with over 8 years of experience. And he'll help you along the way in one of the most important investments of your life. Oh, and also want to thank John Cabrera from AmeriCorp. Thank you, John, for sponsoring the podcast. I really appreciate everybody for sponsoring the podcast. Today, my guest is a local Calexico author. He's written 2 books. His most recent one was written in honor of his niece, who was battling leukemia. All right. Mm-hmm. My guest today is Emilio Trinidad. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Before we talk about your books, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You're a Calexico native. Did you graduate from Calexico High School?
Actually, I have 2 different lives. So I grew up here in Calexico pretty much when I was born here in Brawley. And then I moved to Fresno in 2011. So before all that, I grew up here. I went to Rockwood Elementary School, went to William Moreno Junior High, and then after my junior high, I went to move with my father in a small town called Hanford, California, in the Central Valley up there in Fresno. And I graduated high school right there from Hanford West High School. Then went to college, came back to San Diego, then came back here. So here I am again.
Oh, okay, I see.
Calexico will always be my hometown. So
yeah, for me it was different. I grew up in LA till I was 8, and then I came back to I came down to Calexico, and I've been here ever since. So yeah, Calexico is my hometown. Even though I was born in LA and lived there for 8 years of my life. Mm-hmm. You know, Calexico is where I spend the majority of my life at this point. Yeah. So, I was reading the article that Calexico Chronicle wrote on you, and you talked about dealing with mental health issues, and that kind of inspired you to write your first book, My Words to You. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with mental health and how it led to your book?
Well, mental health is not really an experience. It's something that I believe everyone go through at least once in their lifetime. Yeah. It's just some of them just strong enough to get through it, and some of them just need a little bit more time to get through it. And I was one of them. And it all started in 2017. And after I moved out of my father's house, I just knew something was not okay with me. After I moved to San Diego, I was blessed enough to have my cousin and his wife, Eddie and Bianca, to help me throughout life. But in that time, I was not in the right mentality. I truly believe mental health is all do with the mentally and physically health. And at that moment, I was not mentally and physically okay. And it all started in around July, when I just started to become all this emotions start coming and everything. This is something that I preach about, a lot. I don't mind sharing at all. It's just it all started with this negative thinking all the time. And then I start blocking people out of my life. I start stop doing things I love to do. And that's why I knew I was not okay until December 17, 2017. I was going to commit suicide. Mm. Luckily, I was blessed enough to have my cousin and his wife at that time with me. And my cousin, when I got home, she knew something was wrong. And right away, I got the right help. I truly believed I was given a second chance to live. And that's why, since that day I went to the mental facility and I got out, I made a promise not just to myself, but to my family as well, that I'm going to be okay and I'm going to live my best life for now on, because I was blessed enough to give a second chance, which not a lot of people is given. Not a lot of people is blessed enough to have that second chance when going through mental health, especially that mentality that I had at that time.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get to that point where, you know, you're thinking, or you're at, you know, at that point where, like, you know what, I'm gonna end my life. It's kind of hard. And I mean, it's crazy that your cousin, you know, she kind of was able to read you and know that something was wrong with you.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't. I mean, sometimes people do see those signs and they're like, no, maybe it's just me, or he'll get over it. And, you know, people, you know, do go to that point where they.
Well, I was pretty easy to hide from it. I always kept that smile on my face. So the way I coped with it, even before asking for help, is helping others, even before myself. So I put my other people's issues before my own issue, as a way for me to not pay attention to what was going on at that time. And it came to a point where I need to start putting myself first. So at the time when I changed the mentality that, you know what, as much as I love my friends and family, in order for me to help and make a difference in the world, I have to help myself first.
Yeah.
So I went to counseling, got the proper help. I took the medication for a while, which there's nothing wrong. A lot of people think it's a shame to take medication. If you need it, you need it. And doesn't mean you're not gonna take it for your rest of your life. Have the mentality of, you know what, I'm gonna take it just for a few months and find other ways to cope with depression or mental health. Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of resources out there. A lot of people don't realize it. And I truly believe that mental health is like the number one thing that a lot of people ain't talking about it. If we could talk about sex ed in high school, why don't we talk about mental health? And that's something that I truly preach about.
Do you feel that there's, you know, as the time goes by, mental health is becoming something that we're more comfortable talking about, or?
Yes, I truly believe, like, as the years and months pass by, mental health is starting to become more something that people is okay to share about. It's like people like myself, that it's okay to share their own experience. It's making other people who are also in that shell afraid to open up and ask for help. Like a simple phrase saying you're not alone would definitely make a difference in other people's life.
Yeah, and I feel that even, you know, we see more people like celebrities and athletes and talk about mental health. I know that recently this female tennis player, she kind of got kicked out of a tournament because she didn't want to do the press conferences, and it was because she didn't like doing those because of she had mental health issues. So she kind of like you know, took a stand and said, like, I'm not going to do it. And so she ended up, you know, being kicked out of the tournament. She's one of the top tennis players, but I feel that, you know, that helps people feel more comfortable, you know, seeing people like out in, you know, on TV, or athletes, people that people see as role models talk about mental health. It's helping other people, you know, talk about mental health. And especially, like, I mean, for instance, you, like, you know, that most of the people that we see are, you know, either white, or we do see more colored people talking about mental health. But like in the Hispanic world, I feel that there's not a lot of people who mention it. Like in my family, we never talk about mental health, and it's something that
I grew up in a family where you suck it up when you have a problem and just move on from it. Which is why I was like afraid to share my emotions with other people, like share my problems with other people, because I was raised in a military home with my father for pretty much half my life. So it's pretty much suck it up, move on. No one cares about your problem, you know. Until I realized, you know, there is people out there who want to hear your story. There's people out there who want to help you out. You just gotta ask for it. You know, quiet mouth doesn't get fed. You know, that's something that I haven't meant. If you need help, ask for it. Simple as that. If someone say no, well, there's someone else out there who's definitely gonna give you a hand.
Yeah, you know? For sure. So talk to me about My Words to You, your first book that you wrote.
So My Words to You was a book that I wrote last year around July, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just poems and letters and quotes that I wrote that helped me get through a hard time. Not just mental health, just stuff that's going on in family and everything in life, school, work. It helped me get through life. And I wrote it because I know it could make a difference in other people's life, which it have. Like if I've been getting emails, I've been getting letters from people, fans, saying how that book made a difference in their life, and that's giving me a reason why to keep on writing. You know.
Yeah, and it's an interesting book. I read it. It's a really to the point book. I think that's how when I was reading, I was like, it's a book that's because you can pretty much open any page and like if you're feeling kind of down, it'll give you like it's kind of like a one-liner where like you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it, and then so yeah, I was reading it. It was really interesting, the way it's written, and like you said, it's notes, it's poems that you've, I guess, written along, through this journey that you've had with mental health. Yeah, and do you have one page that you think like you would tell somebody to read?
The introduction.
The intro.
It's just like the introduction is pretty much saying that this is not more than just a book. It's my heart written to you, which is 100% honest. Like I don't want someone to see this just as a book. I want someone to see this as something that I'm going through a hard time. There's a page right there I could read that could help me get through a hard time. Or there's even some poems right there that is like, I did something good. I remind me of this time of this poem or this quote. I didn't just put the sad part. I put through the tough times and the good times as well combined together.
Yeah. I was, like I said, I was reading it and it's interesting. Like it's really interesting the way you wrote it. And I've never seen something like this before. But like I said, it's really to the point. A lot of things that we when we're down or we're kind of like struggling to understand what we're doing wrong or even why you feel a certain way, or why people feel a certain way towards you. Like this one, actions speak more than words, do more, speak less. I just opened up one of the random page, and that's one. So like when somebody is mad at you, and it could be because you keep telling them, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, but you only say it but never do it. That's something. So like a lot of the pages are like that, where like you open something and like it reminds you
brings you memories.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. I really recommend to people, so especially some of you that might be struggling. Where can they find the book?
You could find it on that book. You could go find it in Walmart, Barnes and Noble. The both of things just online, Amazon, and that's pretty much it.
And thank you for my copy.
No problem.
And then your second book, you wrote Nothing but Kindness, which is also they're kind of written in a similar way, where it's like one-liners and but to the point. But tell me a little bit about why you wrote Nothing but Kindness.
So Nothing But Kindness was a book that I wrote less than 6 months.
That's how long it took you to read.
And what inspired me to write the book was my 7-year-old niece, Chloe. She seeing her go through a hard time with leukemia since the age of, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3. Seeing her and her family, the way how they got through a hard time with kindness, with the help of the Children's Hospital, with the help of the Valley, with the help of the family, and so many the community coming together just to help one little girl. So this seeing all that inspired me to write this book. I was looking at her. I remember it was at 8 o'clock at night one time, and I was working on a second book, which was going to be a journal, poems for for students, for the college students. I wanted to focus more on the college students. And then I just delete all that, and I just wrote Chloe, and I word the word kindness, because if someone asked me describe one word, if you could describe one way your niece is, I say kindness, because she's the most 7-year-old kindest girl that I know. Like she's always willing to give her best to others in a young age. So that's what inspired me to write this book, and it's just to show the world that if a 7-year-old girl could be kind to the people, so can we as an adults.
Yeah,
it's not so hard to be kind. A lot of people ask me, how can you change the world? Kindness. Just be kind, help others as much as possible, be there for people as much as possible, listen, meet new people, help as much as possible.
And even in one of the pages you say, smile to somebody, even that goes a long way.
A simple smile could make a difference in somebody else's life. Everybody's going through a certain type of battle that we don't know. That's why you can't judge somebody right away, because maybe they react mad to you because it's something they're going through, struggles they're going through themselves. Don't let their actions define who you are. Instead of saying, man, you know what, forget this person. I don't want to talk to this person. Get to know that person. Let that person know that you're there for them. If it's okay with you to do that,
Yeah, and who illustrated the book?
Her name is Christina. I can't even pronounce her last name because she's from Germany. She she illustrated it. So thank you, Christina.
And does the little girl in the book was she drawn from your niece's?
I sent a picture to the illustrator. That's exactly how my niece looked like. A lot of people say it looked like Dora, but it's my niece.
Yeah, I was like, is this Dora's cousin?
No.
But I was reading through this book too, and like I said, it's a really similar to your first book, where it's one-liners, but but this one's it's a children's book, and it's really good for children to read it, even for, like you said at the end, even it's even good for adults to read and see how far just being kind can be, and help others change their day or change their attitudes forever. I don't know, but yeah, I really enjoyed both books, and especially this one, especially the way that where it came from, your niece, and she was able to beat leukemia, right?
Yeah, she's right now she's in the process of recovering, but if I'm not mistaken, she did beat it, and the cancer is always gonna be there. But right at the moment, thank God she's healthy enough to be okay. So
that's good. What does your family think about you being an author and having two books? And I mean, not everybody.
Well, my mom's pretty proud of me. I know that for sure. Well, my supports for these books was one of my close friends from back home. Her name is Therese Batista. She really inspired me to get into writing. When I was going through a hard time, she always told me to journal. And even before she got me into journal, I always liked writing since high school. She's got me a lot more into it's okay to write your feelings on a piece of paper. And all these two books right here is just feelings that I had in a piece of journal that I made it into books, because it's just at those moments how I feeling, how I felt for a certain person, how I felt towards myself or other people. So my friend really inspired me to become an author. My family as well. A lot of you could ask anybody here in the valley. I said, because I used to go IVC, I always said, I'm gonna publish a book one day. So instead of just saying it, I just did it one day, and that's how it came out with my first book. And it was something that I was scared to do, because I was gonna put myself out there to the world. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much I make out of this book. It doesn't matter how much attention I give in this book. What matters to me is these books is out there for someone to read.
Yeah. And especially, yeah, like you said, especially when it's because people can write books about fiction and biographies, autobiographies, but when it's stuff where you're putting yourself out there, like your feelings and your thoughts. I'm guessing it's even a little bit more nerve wracking than it is writing a book about fiction or any other genre.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those 2% who publish a book, so only 2 or 3%, if I'm not mistaken, authors are successfully published a book. And the number one thing why so many people are afraid to publish book is the opinions of other people, which opinions for me is not so good because I take it personal with opinions. But I've been training myself to be like, you know what? Those opinions are their opinions. I did what I did. Take those opinions not as a negative way. Take it as a positive way. Take it as a feedback. Take it as a
constructive criticism,
as a way to be better at your talent.
Yeah, for sure. So, any advice for people that would that might be afraid to publish a book? Because I don't know how you went about publishing a book. Is it something that's easy?
I'm a self-publisher. I did everything self-published. Amazon did everything else. I hire my own illustrator. I hire my own editors. There's so many websites, so many resources online that you could use that could help you successfully write a book. First thing I did was YouTube. I watched all kinds of YouTube. YouTube is the number one resource for anything you want to do in life. But math. But everything else it really helps. And that's how I started.
So you sent your book to Amazon and they make it in.
Yeah, so Amazon take profit from the sales. So just be aware of that. But that's better than just signing a contract with a
big publisher,
traditional publisher. They take a lot more than it depends on the contract. They take a lot more than Amazon,
Okay, and to be honest, the books are really good quality. I would think that when I saw them, I thought that you had published them with the publisher, and I didn't know I didn't even know that Amazon did that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know either till one day I saw it's called Amazon Publishing. It helps you. Pretty much all you have to do is just write the book, format it, have someone format it, edit it, the picture, send it to this website called Upwork, and they could do the editing for you and everything. All you have to do is just write it. And just don't just write it because you want to write it, mean it, find a purpose, find your category.
Yeah. And because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have written something that they would like to publish, but they find it hard to, I don't know, get a publisher and all these things. But, it's awesome that you could, you're a self-publisher. So that's pretty cool. And and it's even, I feel that, you're pretty open for if people out there want to know how you went about, they can contact you to kind of.
Yeah. A lot of people do. I have friends that text me I want to write a book, but I don't know how. I give them the steps because I don't see this as a competition. I see that as, okay, I master at this talent. Now I have to pass it on to the next one. It's passing the torch to the next person. If that person does even better than you, well, it is what it is. Don't be mad about it. Congratulations, be thankful. Yeah,
I think that's the way I am with podcasting as well. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and hey, I want to start a podcast. How do I do it? And I'm always open for people to ask me about doing podcasts because, like you said, it's I don't see it as a competition, especially for me. Here in the Valley, the more people listen to a podcast, the better chance I have of being listened to, because not a lot of people in the Valley listen to podcasts. So if there's somebody else in the Valley that's doing a podcast, their friends and family are going to listen to it, and then they might look for somebody else in the Valley that's doing a podcast. So that's how I see it. But yeah, it's never a competition for me, and I like helping people out when it comes to. There's a saying
that always in my head is hang out with those who does the same thing as you. Has the same talent as you, because let's just say you hang out with other people who do podcasts, you learn from each other. Instead of just saying, oh, it's a competition, you guys build together instead of just being competitive, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it, you know, like I want to surround myself with other authors, with other podcasters and so many other things, so I could master of what I do, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, and I was reading that you were gonna, I don't know if you already donated it, but you were gonna donate a book to also the Cancer Research Center of the Desert, because they help your family a lot, and the Children's Hospital. Were you able to?
Yeah, I actually did. Not the Children's Hospital yet. I'm still in the process of doing even bigger things for them. You know, just right now it's so hard with the pandemic and everything to go over there and read books to the kids and everything. But little by little, you know. So here it started with the Cancer Society that helped my little niece. I just donated a book, and that's when they started opening doors for me. You know, like that's when I started getting calls for the newspaper and opportunities thanks to them. You know.
Yeah.
So they gave me the opportunity to put myself out there.
Yeah, and you know, I've talked to them, the Cancer Research Center of the Desert, and you know, they're really good to the people that they help out. And I'm glad they were able to help, because not only it shows that they not only help, you know, people who are dealing with cancer, but you know, local authors like yourself. But and it's pretty cool, because you know, I'm sure that I'm not sure what they did with the book, but if there's a family there that reads your book, you know, they're going through the same thing, and might help them, you know, cope with, you know, what they're going through. Even the first one, My Words to You, it's kind of, you know, when you're going through hard times, even, you know, when it's somebody in your family being sick, somebody passing away, you know, this book is really, really helpful. Is there anything that you want to add to about the books that I haven't asked you?
Oh, no, not at all. Just thank you to everyone who been reading it and giving me the support for this book. Honestly, without the fans, without the family and friends, none of this would have been possible. You guys are my reasons why I keep on writing. So thank you for the feedbacks.
You also have a podcast.
Yes.
What's your podcast called?
This one's called... Man, I just had a brain fart. Oh, Nothing But Positivity.
Oh, okay. And where can people find it, and what are some things that you talk about on your podcast? So
you could find this on Anchor. You could find this on Amazon, or on my Instagram too as well. And pretty much this podcast is pretty much things that is going on in life that I want to learn about, but also go help others to learn about it as well. Like how to deal with negative thinking, how to deal with depression, how to deal with how to start exercising, because that's like so many things that people like, things that I want to learn. I do my research, but also do the podcast and let other people know what kind of techniques I use in order to succeed that goal.
Yeah, to think positively. Yeah, I think I listened to the first episode, and I think the last one you did was a while back, right?
Yes, the last one I did was actually last June. Yeah, one of those 2 months.
But you're planning on doing some more?
Yeah, I'm just having like this time. I'm actually gonna have more guests instead of just myself talking. Cause my last episode actually had one of my I had a friend from back home who talked about her fitness journey, and that really like popped up, and a lot of people like how I include someone else's opinion instead of just my own. So like little by little, I'm just gonna start getting people, professional friends and everybody, just to get on the podcast and just talk about positive stuff, you know, a lot of stuff that people need to hear in the world, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, people can find your both books on Walmart and Amazon, and also they can find, you know, links to everything on your Instagram. What's your Instagram where people can?
So my Instagram is eTrinidad1.
eTrinidad1. And the number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Or eTrinidad67. That's like the 2 that people can find it.
Okay, and I'll put links to your Instagram on the description of the podcast. But yeah, I really enjoyed the interview they had on you with the Calexico Chronicle. And I even actually talked to Charlie Samaripa. He was the one that interviewed you, and he had just come back from interviewing you when I interviewed him.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about you, and I'm kind of glad that I did because like I said, I read both your books. They're really good. I really recommend them to everybody, especially those people that are going through some hard times, because like I said on the first one, my words to you, any page that you pick, you'll find something that'll make you feel good or kind of like snap you out of those things that you're going through. I mean, not real. They might not snap you out of it, but it'll kind of help you cope a little bit with
makes you pay attention to your feelings.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, that's the purpose of the book. I want people to pay attention to how they feel. Like, because when I was going through a hard time, I didn't pay attention how I felt, and I was going through a hole. Like, I was digging myself a hole, literally my own grave. And like until I was like, I was afraid to let people in because I know I was going through a hard time. I was just afraid to let people in my life help me out until I let them in. And now I'm surrounded and blessed with more than just one angels, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and I think that a lot of it has to do with our culture. I think I've said it a lot, especially when I talk to people that I've had a lot of people here that talk about mental health. And I think that especially in our culture, in the Hispanic culture, just, that machismo thing that, you can't really talk about your feelings or we as men never really hug,
Yes, we don't cry.
or we don't say, or we don't say I love you, like even to our nieces or nephews or people that we should be saying I love you to. And I think it's a lot has to do with our culture, especially I think for me, first generation here. My parents immigrated here, so I think being first generation is even harder because they're still attached to that culture, that Mexican culture where the chismo is like really strong. So, like I don't remember both my parents like ever telling me like, now they say it more because I think my wife has a lot to do with it because she's the one that's kind of gotten me in touch with that sensitive side of me. And so like we share a lot more, but I feel like it's a lot with our culture that we don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about mental health, and I feel like I don't know what generation you are, but I feel that I've gone to meet more younger people that are getting in touch more with feelings, talking about mental health, talking with their parents about it, and it's really good because it's something, especially during the pandemic. I think a lot of us learned, and a lot of us went through mental health issues because we were depressed. We were in our homes for a long time. We couldn't go out. So I think now we're going to see more people getting, be more open about mental health and talking about their feelings.
It's been increasing a lot this past few months with mental health. A lot of people have been asking for help, luckily. Yeah. Because the pandemic was something hard. Like, it was something that we all went through, together, not just one person. Yeah. Like, we all lost somebody, at least that we know. We all lost jobs, friends, family, houses. The people had to move back from where they were at back to base one again, but then again, like, I don't see this as a negative. I see this as a positive, see this as spending more time with family, spending time more with your loved one, getting to know yourself a lot more. Like, the time that you've been on like lockdown is the way I saw it, like, I didn't see it as a negative way. I saw it as like, okay, this is my time to get my podcast a lot more. This is my time to start writing more books. This is my time to spend time with my niece, with my mom, with my sister that, when I was in San Marcos, I was going to school. I didn't have time to come down for a family,
Yeah. Yeah, and I was watching a video, like a little news or documentary about how in China, they're having a hard time with have a shortage of like psychologists or counselors, because in China they really never talked about mental health because of their culture. But now with the pandemic, there's a lot of people who are opening up more, and because they know they were depressed at home, so now they're looking for that help. So they're short on. There's like, I think there was like 9 counselors or psychologists for every 100,000 people in China. So they have a shortage, and I feel like we're gonna be in that same boat because I feel like more and more people are gonna be looking for that help, because we all. I mean, I can say myself that at one point in the pandemic I was a little bit depressed, and I feel that more and more people are gonna be looking for that help for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, Emilio, anything else that you would like to add that we haven't really talked about? Any closing thoughts?
No, just like thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it. And just like anybody who's hearing this, make those dreams into reality, like those goals and everything. It's just dreams that could become a reality. You just got to put in the work,
Yeah.
There is going to be a struggle along the way. There's going to be hard times. But don't just look at those hard times and struggles as a bad thing. See it as a good thing that makes you an even stronger person,
Yeah.
So that's the way I see life, just live life to its best, because we're only given one life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you say, you got a second chance at this life, and you really took advantage of it, and I'm glad you did. So yeah, everybody, thank you for listening, and I want to invite everybody to check out Emilio's books. I'll put links to like Amazon and Walmart on the description of the podcast, so that people can find your book. They're really good. If you have any children in your life, By Them Nothing But Kindness it's a really, really good book. Shows kids how to be kind and how to change people's lives, but by just being a little bit kind every day. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And once again, I want to thank my friends here at Modern Home Furniture, my friends Robert, Sonia, and Fernie for allowing me to record here today. Really, really appreciate it. Stay cool, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.